Hello. Welcome. Welcome. It has been well, hi. How's your weekend going? I am a little kerfuffled over here. I'm a little I'm sitting on my in-ears. That is on par with this evening so far. So, okay, I came up here like half an hour ago to pull up all the video that I am going to want to pull up today and get my show notes up and everything, and the computer wouldn't recognize the doc. Right. Let me actually let me double check something. Okay, so we should be good at the moment. I just realized I didn't bring up the battery life for the computer either. So we'll see how we go. I may need to shoot a text message. That reminds me, turn the phone sound off, Aurora, so that it does not bother you. May need to send out a call to the household for the battery for the charger for the laptop because well it's just been that kind of a night. Let me know where you're coming in from, what you're sipping on this evening. So half an hour ago, I go to pull everything up and doesn't recognize my other monitor, nothing because safety and stuff like that. So I'm restarting the computer. I was shutting it down. Huge shout out to my mom who dealt with my less than savory attitude while trying to get this all up up and running and ready and everything. So we are here now. Have I misplaced my show notes? I have indeed misplaced my show notes. Is she in here? Yes, she is. You're okay, baby. The dog has joined me, of course, in her spot where nobody can see her because, of course, the internet would love to see her. So she refuses to be seen because, well, she's my girl. She's my girl. And she's funny that way. So, anyway, hi. Hi. Welcome. Did you have a good week? My week was pretty good. My week was pretty good overall. It was slightly aggressive. But that is to be expected for this time of year. I know a lot of folks are getting ready for back to school. Teachers are scrambling to get themselves ready to go back to school. The kids are let's see, the ones that are in college, I think are already back at college or will be this week. Mm, it's been a lot. It's been a lot. If you're new here, hi, welcome. I'm Aurora. I break down the politics, pop culture, and court stories that have captured our attention. Sometimes it's just what has captured my attention, and then we run with it, as is the case tonight. And in general, with the rules of the chat, if you are deemed to be a troll or super sassy, yeah, I'm gonna kick you out. For the most part, it's an open chat, but there are some rules. We lead with kindness. We do often take a little trip to the snark tank. So we that's nope, my brain just buffered. I tried to put too many thoughts into my brain at the same time. Okay, maybe if you're not neurospicy, you don't experience this, but like that time where you have two or three different thoughts and they both try to come out of your face and instead they just crash in the middle and then nothing then you buffer. That's what just happened. Um we don't dox, we don't harass. If I need to redact things and I catch it in time, I absolutely do. And I expect chat to, you know, be good and kind and don't take things real world and all of that. So, what is on the docket tonight? Yes, politics are crazy right now and everything, but and I know some of you are looking for an update on the Lindsay Clancy trial. Here's the thing. I am not following the Lindsay Clancy trial gavel to gavel. I'm not doing full recaps on that. For the best coverage, in my opinion, of the Lindsay Clancy trial, truly, Lawyer You Know, Peter Tragos, that is the same channel. The Lawyer You Know channel is the channel that I would direct you to. That's where I'm getting my recaps. That's where I would send you for the Lindsay Clancy stuff. It is nearing the end of the case, so we will keep an eye on it. I'll keep an eye on it. But again, because of the nature of the facts of that case, I have kept that at an arm's reach. We will circle back and we will cover more of the mental health of it all and the conversation that has sprouted around that later. But I am not doing gavel to gavel coverage. I am following gavel to gavel coverage of the Keefe D trial. And that is what we're going to recap tonight. I'm going to see. I might be able to get through the first 4 days tonight. And we will meet again tomorrow to cover day 5 because there was so much in day 5. So much in day 5. And there is some testimony for this trial that I can't cut it. It's too good. You got to see it, and I have thoughts on it. So, as always, I have in the description of this video put in the link to Emily D. Baker's channel because that's where I'm watching this gavel to gavel because when I hear something and I go, wait, what? And then she buffers, I feel it's very validating for me. So that's where if you want to follow it gavel to gavel real time with Zoom Room, that's where I'm going to send you. I'm going to do my level best tonight to do the TLDR so we can skip a bunch of things. Now, I am not as efficient as Peter Tragos. I'm not. We're not getting through this in an hour. I can try. If we get through this in an hour, I will be shocked. But so get comfy because we have a lot to cover. I am going to run the intro. I was almost going to say swoop. I'm going to run the intro. We're going to do a short little background of this because unless you are over the age of 40, really a lot of this may be missed on you. If you are if you are 40 and younger, there's a lot that might have missed you as well. It kind of depends on what scene were you paying attention to in 1996 and what did you hear? It really kind of depends on where you lived and what your environment was. And yes, I was the kid listening to the Andrews sisters while also being very aware of what was going on with Tupac and all that. So let me go ahead and run the intro. Then we're going to cover why are we here? What is happening? And then we're going to dive into trial. We're going to see if I can get through the first 4 days in 2 hours. Can I get it done in 2 hours? I don't know. We're going to find out. Let's roll. Welcome to Bark a Lot with the Aurora H. White. I'm a legal biller by trade, opinionated law and politics nerd by default. I'm here to break down the political, pop culture, and court headlines that we're all talking about. We value facts, thoughtful discussion, and salty language, so whether you're a fellow law nerd, a political junkie, or just looking for a little hope in today's crazy world, you're in the right place. Tap that subscribe button, pull up your soapbox, and let's go. Let's go. Sorry, my eyes got a little itchy there. Let's go. All right. So I am toying with the idea of maybe needing a glossary for this trial for the children who do not understand some of the things that we have to explain, the bits of technology and stuff that we actually need to explain from this trial. But how did we get here? So for those of you who are not aware, and they'll explain a little bit better in opening statements. We're going to run some of those, but on September 7th in 1996, also, how many trials have I followed recently that are just that time out to be on or near anniversaries of the event in question? It's been pretty insane that way. So, September 7th, 1996, Tupac Shakur is shot in a drive-by shooting at a red light on the Vegas Strip. So he's out there. He's now, right, Aurora, some of the kids don't just Google Tupac. If you do not know who Tupac Shakur is, I'm gonna need you to do that deep dive there. He's a rapper. And it was so he gets shot in a drive-by shooting on September 7th in 1996. That was 30 years ago. That's a terrifying thought. It's long been assumed that Orlando Anderson, aka Baby Lane, and Keefe D's nephew was the shooter. But there hasn't been a trial. Nobody's gone to court over this. It also happened to be the night of one of the most famous and shortest boxing matches in history with Mike Tyson. The entire fight lasted, I think, a minute 12 before his opponent got knocked out. I mean, it was just, I remember hearing about the fight, the shooting. It was a wild night to be in Vegas, I'm sure. If you were in Vegas, it was a wild night to be in Vegas. So this is also at a point in time where you've got the East Coast, West Coast rap rivalry. You've got the new and upcoming Death Row Records and Bad Boy Records and beef with them. We've seen a million documentaries about just about everybody whose names we end up hearing in this case. And I am probably the least qualified person to explain all of that history because, first of all, I'm an East Coast girly. Second of all, like, not in that I've always born and raised on the East Coast, New England. I mean, we can see that I am pale and I'm a suburbanite. So there's a lot of what was going on that just missed me. Now, I have since learned about a whole bunch of stuff, but a lot of it missed me. What I am learning is now I have lived in what we might call a family neighborhood in Providence. Different mafia, but same kind of rules, it seems like. So that's been interesting because when you've lived in a family neighborhood, depending on the family, you know what the rules are for civilians and non-civilians. They're different rules. So, but it does seem like the civilian rules are pretty much the same with any of it. So, with that, shall we get into opening statements? I say we roll right into opening statements. Do I have it already? I don't know. I'm going to move my timestamps. Let's see. If I do this, can you see my timestamps? No. Let me get to the right. There we go. No, you can't see my timestamps. I need to move me, though. That's not what I wanted to do. I want to move down. Move me down. Fine. We're stuck here. That's fine. I'm sure there is a better way. Nope, that's not what. Nope. I will fix it at another point in time. This is close enough. It's fine. We're good. Okay, so we have that. I'm going to move my notes back over here. My notes for this are timestamps, really. That's what we have going on here. All right. Move that. Okay, are we ready to roll for opening statements? Do I know the names of the lawyers? No, because it goes so fast. I should look it up while we're here. But anyway, let's start with the prosecution's opening statement. I'm not gonna run the whole thing, but I'm gonna run various chunks of it, and then we'll look at a chunk of the defense's opening statement, and then we're gonna get into witnesses and whatnot. So, am I gonna have running commentary? Yeah. Let's see how quick we can get through this. I don't know. All right, opening statements, prosecution.
Good morning. On September 7th, 1996, Tupac Shakur came to Las Vegas to attend a Mike Tyson fight. After the fight, Tupac, along with Suge Knight, Trayvon Lane, and other people that were with that group, ran into a person named Orlando Anderson. And Orlando Anderson is the defendant's nephew. And when they encountered Orlando Anderson sitting by himself, they attacked him. And that attack was captured on video.
I need to try and do a thing here. Hang on. I am realizing that this picture-in-picture thing is great, but we can't we with this up here. Yeah, with this. That's not what I wanted to do. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Add this. There we go. Oh, prosecutor. I've covered him with the watermark. Well, that's not intentional. Sorry, guys. I'll fix it. Not in post because I don't edit. I'll shut up and we'll go back to this.
Then, a few hours later, Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight drive down Flamingo Road to Club 662, where Tupac is scheduled to perform a concert. Then 2.5 hours later, after Tupac and Suge engaged in the beating of Orlando Anderson, they are gunned down. Tupac is gunned down in a drive-by shooting from a white Cadillac in an act of revenge.
Yep.
During those 2.5 hours, you will learn that the defendant was escalating and planning the retribution for the beating of his beloved nephew. Now, let's be clear. Duane Davis did not pull the trigger. But what he did do was plan the retaliation for the beating of his nephew. You will learn that Duane Davis got the gun. You will learn that he got into a white Cadillac. You will learn when the opportunity presented itself for retribution, Duane Davis made sure that the shooters were armed and ready to execute their revenge. And remarkably, you will learn that from Duane Davis himself.
I'm bringing him up to 1.25. We
to
don't
understand what
have time
happened
for
on
regular
September
time.
7th, 1996, on the streets of Las Vegas, we need to go about 275 miles west to the city of Compton, California. What you'll learn is that Compton is about 10 square miles. But in the mid-1990s, those 10 square miles were occupied by over 30 gangs claiming its territory. And important to this case, there are two gangs, Mob Piru and the South Side Compton Crips. Let's talk a little bit about the Mob Piru. The Mob Piru is a group that associated with the color red. And you'll hear that Suge Knight, the person who was driving Tupac Shakur that night, grew up in the neighborhood of Mob Piru. But by the mid-1990s, he had become a very successful CEO of the record label Death Row Records. But despite, or maybe because where he came from, you'll hear that Suge Knight continued to employ Mob Piru gang members as part of Death Row. They would act as unofficial security and other
It's a family business.
Times they would engage in, it's called them other acts on behalf of Sugar. But Death Row in the mid-1990s was one of the most successful record labels around. It had artists such as Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, and of course, Tupac Shakur. And in 1996, Tupac Shakur was maybe the largest, biggest, most successful rapper around.
Yeah.
He had just sold, released All Eyes on Me, a double album that was met with huge success.
Get your
Additionally,
playlist
Tupac
ready.
Shakur was a movie star, having appeared in a number of movies and critically acclaimed roles. He has at times been referred to as an icon. But for
The man is an icon. He is referred to as an icon because, in my own personal opinion, the man is an icon.
the purposes of this case, what you need to know is that Tupac Shakur was not a gangster. He was a hip-hop artist associated with the Multi-Rib. Now, the other gang that's important to note here is the South Side Compton Crips. And when it comes to South Side, Duane Keefe D. Davis was the leader of the Burris Street faction of the South Side Compton Crips. And while Suge Knight rose to prominence in his neighborhood due to the money that he was bringing in through the music industry, Duane Davis rose to prominence in his neighborhood because he was a very successful, large-scale drug trafficker. And you will learn that that is how one moves up in the world of gangs, by bringing in money to the neighborhood.
It is, so in watching with EDB, it has been very helpful for me to learn certain things and or confirm certain things. And because one of the other reasons, not only is she brilliant, I love, I'm a law nerd, I enjoy her commentary, but the other thing for a case like this is she grew up in LA. She graduated in 1996 and she went on to work in the Los Angeles prosecutor's office, and that has included work with, I'm sure gang related things have come across her desk, as it were, depending on what she was looking at and doing and who her friends were in the office. So what has been helpful for me is somebody who understands the system in a way that I do not. But gangs, the mafia, the general how they work, it's very similar to MLMs. The multi-level, the pyramid schemes, multi-level marketing is very similar. So basically, I'm going to skip ahead now. So that was the prosecution's opening right there, and I wanted to get through some of that description. So now let's bounce ahead a little bit because he's going to go through a lot of the facts of the case, where everybody was, and all of that. So where are we at? Back. There we go. All right, here we are.
As early as 1998, Davis spoke to the FBI. He admitted he was in Las Vegas during Tupac's murder, but he denies being responsible. Then in 1999, Davis speaks to the FBI again. And these aren't interviews that are focused on the Tupac Shakur murder. These aren't interviews regarding drug transactions and drug trafficking. But he does say that Tupac does come up, and Wayne Davis admits to being in Las Vegas for Tupac Shakur's murder. Says he wasn't involved, but he was mad about the fact that Orlando Anderson was beaten, and that his plan was to handle it in Compton had Tupac survived.
Yep. Davis is a prime example of why people will tell you to shut the fuck up. He does not. That's why we're here.
The interview of clips we've heard today. In a secret interview with the federal task force, Davis admits to his role in the murder of Tupac Shakur. And we do need to talk a little bit about this 2008 federal task force. Because what this task force is investigating is not the murder of Tupac Shakur. What this task force is investigating is another rapper's murder. A rapper by the name of Christopher Wallace. Somebody who is known as Biggie Smalls, of the notorious B.I.G. Christopher Wallace got murdered 6 months after Tupac Shakur was killed. And there was some allegation that the LAPD might have been involved. So a federal task force was formed to determine what happened to Christopher Wallace. In The interesting thing about the murder of Christopher Wallace is that Christopher Wallace is killed leaving a party in LA. Also at that party, Duane Davis. Christopher Wallace there's a suspect vehicle that involved a Chevy SS Impala, and Duane Davis happened to own a Chevy SS Impala. Now, as a result of that, the task force decides, well, let's look at Duane Davis. And the thing we know about Duane Davis is that he trafficked narcotics. And so they were able, through a CI and an undercover, to have a drug transaction with Duane Davis. And as a result, Duane Davis now has a case, a big trafficking case. And so the federal task force approaches Duane Davis and his attorney, and they say, hey, look, we want information regarding the murder of Christopher Wallace. That is what we are trying to investigate. And
he disagrees.
What Duane Davis says is, I don't have any information about that thing, but I can tell you about what we did. I can tell you about Tupac. And that's what he does. He tells a federal task force that that's about his involvement, what you've heard, his orchestration of the murder of Tupac Shakur.
I should also mention that Keefe got himself here because he also wrote a book that was published in 2019. Rory wrote down the title of the book because I can't ever keep it in my head. This book, South Side Compton Legend. I think that's what it's called. I have not gotten the book yet. I have not listened to the book yet. South Side Compton Legend. But he's got a book. He's got a book. All right. The prosecution continues on to tell you that, oh, no. Aurora, listen to your time span. We'll go back to that. I didn't realize how much his face was facing.
That secret conversation, that proffer, was secretly recorded and released later. In 2009, Davis is being so helpful to federal authorities that he actually flies out to New York to try and get Zip Martin to implicate himself in the Tupac Shakur murder. Zip Martin at that time was dying of cancer, was out of the game, and really did not engage with Duane Davis. In 2009, though, Duane Davis gives an interview to Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department Detective Dan Long.
I also think that Zip probably got wind that Davis was chatty and decided to keep his mouth shut.
Now, Duane Davis is more guarded in that interview. It is a different setting than the interview of 2008. It's not a secret proffer agreement. But Duane Davis does admit a number of things. That he was in Las Vegas, that he was mad about Orlando Anderson getting beat, that he was the boss, that he was in the white Cadillac, and that he procured the firearm that ultimately killed Tupac Shakur. Then, in 2011, the landscape changes. Because in 2011, Greg Kading, the guy who was leading the task force in 2008, the guy who organized the secret proffer between Duane Davis and the federal task force, he leaves law enforcement and decides he's going to publish a book about his investigation into Biggie Smalls, the guy who was killed 6 months after Tupac, and Tupac Shakur.
Also, I have feelings about that. It's going to come out that Kading basically took a bunch of files from the cave and put it in the book. Like, I haven't read that book either. Everybody has a book. And I don't like where Kading's book I have more issues with than Keefe D's book. Keefe D just wants to tell his own. Keefe D just wants, he's clout chasing. All right, let me bounce ahead to the defense opening statement, or part of the defense opening statement, so we can get a sense of that lawyer and how he's operating. I think of all the attorneys so far, I'm liking this attorney that Keefe D has. I think he needs a good one, and I like the one that he has. So far, I think the theory of the case that he's coming in with is the best thing he can. It's the best he's got, truly, for the facts of this case. So let's give him a few minutes to tell us what his opening statement is. We're just going to run the very first section of it because we got to zoom. Also, I really like this judge.
No, you're right. Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning. We spent a lot of time, I think, when we were picking a jury to determine who would be the right jurors for a case like this. Obviously, we want people who are going to reserve judgment until the end, but really look at the evidence with a critical eye. Now, what the state has just told you what they believe to be the evidence in this case. But really, at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, if what they're saying is really truth or fiction? Fact or fiction? I don't know if some of you recall, but I had asked a question specifically about what you were holding in your hands. And right now, for instance, you're all holding notepads and pens. That would be fact, right? And in this case, for instance, I had asked before about the idea of, I can just do this, right? Microphone. I'd ask some of you, if that microphone was buried and dug up 30 years from now, would it still be a microphone? The answer is yes. And the reason why that's important is because in this case, what they are telling you, they're representing it to be a fact when it really is fiction. And it's up to you to determine what the facts are in this case. Now,
I just realized that he went with microphone, considering that his client is here because his client won't stop talking.
I'm going to give you a timeline here for you to understand just a little bit of how this is going to work. Because there's so much evidence in this case that we have to sort of compartmentalize some things. And what I've done is really just sort of focused on the 3 detectives that work this file from beginning to now. First detective you will hear about is Detective Becker. He works the file. He's the original detective on the scene. Detective Long takes over the case for about 15 years or so. And then it ends with Detective Mogg, who presents this to the grand jury in 2023. But why this timeline is relevant is you have to see the span of time for yourself. 30 years. And ask yourself this, what facts do they have after 30 years? Now, Detective Becker does what every homicide detective does when he arrives on scene. He's assigned to the case. He starts his investigation. At that particular time, though, Tupac Shakur was not dead. He was critically injured. He was at UMC. And it isn't until 6 days later that he passes away. But Detective Becker starts his initial investigation because it's pretty serious. And as a result, he just takes over the investigation. What he will testify to is that Flamingo Polo on a Saturday night in the middle of a fight between Mike Tyson and Bruce Seldon, it was very busy when he arrived. And he arrived at a time where he was able to determine cartridge casings, 40 caliber, that was found at the scene. That's another fact for you. But at some point they're going to learn, he learns that potentially it was a Glock 40 that was the actual firearm that was used in this case. And then when crime scene analysts arrive on scene, they document the evidence. And they document the cars. That will be important, and you'll determine at some point why the cars are documented. And with regard to Detective Becker, what he'll tell you is police officers write reports. Critical. Hugely important. Why? Because at some point in the future, like in this case, 30 years later, Detective Becker will not remember details like he would if he had, his report in front of him. And that's going to be important for you to consider in this case. Now, what Detective Becker does, though, is because of the outcry, the attention, the media focus on this case, he took his file and he secured it in his office under lock and key. Because he was worried about leaks in Metro, leaking information out
were happening.
because so many people wanted to know answers to the question as to what happened and who did this to Tupac Shakur. Now, what you're going to find is, when Detective Becker testifies in this case, that a lot of his reports are now missing. They're gone.
Yep.
Which is Metro's responsibility to hold and to pass on to the next detective, and then finally to the next detective. Now, Detective Becker also did not trust Compton PD. Why is that important in this case? Because there's an individual by the name of Reggie Wright Jr. He was a lieutenant working in Compton in charge of the gangs in Compton in terms of investigations. His son is Reggie Wright Jr. He was the head of security for Death Row Records, the same security that was here in Las Vegas on the 9th of September 7th, 1996. Death Row Records was affiliated with mob Piru Blood, and Detectives Ladd and Brennan from Compton answered directly to Reggie Wright Sr. Becker did not trust Compton PD. And one thing that he really didn't trust is that most of their information came from confidential informants that were not reliable. And he'll tell you that. And because of his intuition, Compton PD was shut down in September of 2000 due to internal corruption.
Yep.
They just evaporated that police department, and the sheriff's department for LA County absorbed the responsibilities for the police department in Compton because of the corruption that was there. Now, what facts, right? Just like the pads of paper that you have in your hand and the pen that you have in your hand, what facts can we determine from Detective Becker's efforts?
All right. That's where we start. So, in short, I do like the fact or fiction angle, because when your client talks a big game and says a lot of stuff multiple times to multiple people on multiple recordings in multiple formats, your best option is, hey, he's a clout chasing liar. Don't believe a word he says. So we're gonna see how that works out for him. I'm not sure. So far, I like his style, and I think it is probably the best Keefe D is gonna get. So we will go with that. Okay. So that was opening statement. So we get a sense of one of our prosecutors, and we get a sense of the defense attorney. You will hear me say this multiple times, and I am going to say it loud from wherever. Good defense attorneys is anytime you are dealing with any sort of criminal charge, whether you are innocent, pardon me, whether you are guilty, whether you are in between, I do not care. A great attorney, great defense attorney is something that you should have. I get very cranky, like Tyler Robinson, who does not seem to have a winning team for his defense. I think, especially if you are innocent and especially if you are guilty, you need the best of the best. And this guy appears to me so far to certainly be better than the lawyer we get introduced to on some of the recordings in day 5. All right. So after opening statements, we have the first witness, Gary Dale, a uniformed bike cop that was working the strip the night of the murder. He was one of the first officers on the scene. He is mostly a foundation and orientation witness, which is why I've chosen to skip him. Again, if you want to watch the full gavel to gavel, which I highly recommend for this not at all boring trial, I personally recommend EDP for commentary. Then we had witness number 2, which is Brent Becker. He was a Las Vegas Metro PD homicide detective that got called out to the scene and started the case, even though when Tupac and Suge left the scene that night, both of them were alive. So we got a lot of he confirms that they got a ton of information from informants, which is not super useful when trying to actually prosecute cases, because informants won't testify. As a general rule, they tell you shit, but they don't want to be involved. So we see a bunch of Detective Becker's notes. He explains that he started locking the files in his desk because the media and because of the media attention and leaks within the department. He got to teach the younger jurors what a floppy disk was, which is where they started storing some of their information. Now in 1996, a police department. This was probably one of the big ones. This is probably one of the floppy disks that was indeed still floppy. So, and the younger folks of the jury, although they probably didn't need to. We also went over Polaroids, but Polaroids have managed to stay in existence. So, we also learned from him that, from Detective Becker, that an autopsy Polaroid was sold to the Daily Mail. Which I have so many thoughts about that. It's gross. It happened with Kobe too. And I'm trying to think. It has happened before, and it's vile to me, and I don't. don't like that. Detective Becker also covers that he handled photo lineups. Then we move on to witness number 3, Fred Miller. My apologies for that yawn that snuck out there. Fred Miller, LAPD homicide detective. He was the detective that was assigned to the Biggie case. And so he becomes ultimately the foundation. So in court cases, when you want to bring in recordings, evidence, that kind of thing, you need to lay a foundation. You need to basically tell the jury, the court, all the reasons why it should come in. And then to do that, to actually bring it in, you need somebody to confirm that it is real evidence, and they provided it, or they were the ones behind that piece of evidence, something like that. So in this particular case, we have Fred Miller, who was a homicide detective on the Biggie case, and he's mostly the foundation for one of the recordings with Davis. And then we listened to side A. They ended the day with side A of the 1997 recording with Keefe D. So the foundation is laid. We then listen to the recording. I am not going to make any of y'all suffer through that recording for 2 reasons. One, Keefe D seems to be a strategic cougher, and it is very annoying. And 2, he also every time the man he's a mumbler. He is a mumbler. Every time the man speaks, I have this little gif of Johnny Depp in my head from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory going, mumbler. And with that, and when I say side A, I do mean this was an audio cassette tape. So it was the first side. It was indeed side A of the audio cassette tape. So that is where they ended day 1. I'm going to swoop, and then we will move on to day 2. Hey guys, we're 42 minutes into stream, and I'm already on to day 2. Can I do this in 2 hours? Can I get through 4 days in 2 hours? I don't know. Swoop. All right. Day 2 starts with side B of the recording, which I'm also not going to put you through. You can go find it. I recommend finding it. And I'm skipping that in the interest of time. And then we move on. We're going to skip most of these witnesses because I need to devote time to some of my favorites. So we're going to skip witness number 4, which was Thomas Kern. He was a crime scene analyst for Las Vegas Metro Police. He was followed by witness number 5, Dr. Lisa Gavin, forensic pathologist and medical examiner, because for cases like this, you have to establish that the victim is in fact deceased and what they are deceased from. So, and then we do have some video of the next witness. Let me start. I'll get there. That is day 3. That's not what we want. Day 2. That is what we want. We want day 2. I want this to be bigger. All right. Let me look at my timestamps. Go. Perfect. All right. We are going to just watch a couple of minutes of this detective here. He was, he's not a detective. Don't mind me. He is Michael Ingram. He will tell you what he does, but he was head of security at MGM. Did I have that right? What? Oh my goodness. That is sorry about that, guys. I hit a button and then I disappeared. And then that's not what I want. And now my camera's forgotten me. I'm trying to make that. All right, fine. We're going to live with this, and the camera can forget me, and I'll fix it. I'll fix it later. All right, let us hear a little bit of this gentleman.
May I please have you state and spell your first and last name for the record?
Michael Ingram, Michael Ingram.
Thank you, Mr. Ingram. Mr. Jackman, whenever you're ready.
Sir, how are you work?
I work as an investigator for MGM Resorts.
What area at MGM Resorts do you have a certain job responsibility?
I have responsibility over surveillance and security surveillance and investigations.
Can you imagine the shit this guy has seen?
Were you requested to come here to authenticate some video
man
that
has
was collected
stories.
well back in 1996 from the MGM?
Yes, I was.
And have you had a chance to see any of that surveillance?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Did MGM keep a copy as
Foundation.
well?
Yes, they have.
Okay, so you reviewed that.
Yes.
Judge, I have in my hand the stage proposed exhibit number 115, which is that video I'd offer.
Any objection?
Nope.
No objection.
Okay, that'll be admitted.
So I have 3 different camera views, three different files, I'll call it, that we're going to talk about. But back in 1996, can you describe the type of surveillance system we're looking at? Like, how is it, what medium was it originally recorded on?
At that time, it was recorded on VHS.
And did MGM reuse tapes every so often?
Yes.
And so when you reuse tape, did you lose quality each time you kind of reused it over and over again?
Yes, the quality deteriorated.
So unlike today that's digital, some of these views that we're going to watch, it's going to be pretty hard to facially identify anybody. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Still better than Canton PD. Just saying. Still better than the Canton Police Department surveillance video.
So I want to start with, actually,
30 years old, that's better than that. All right, we can skip ahead. And for the kids out there, there are VHS tapes. They're like giant audio cassettes. We used to record movies and stuff on them. If you had cable, or you knew somebody who had cable and you wanted to watch a movie or a show again, you would have to like put it in and have a VCR that recorded as well. Yes, this is some of the things we have explained. Kind of wild. Okay. My notes have disappeared. I've disappeared. Hey, camera. Hello. All right. Hi. The camera has forgotten me. The camera has decided I am blurry, so it's time for cheers. It's time for cheers with the chat. Camera. Hello. Earth to camera. Well, we can show off my lovely nails. Has it remembered? All right. I hate it when it goes fuzzy like this. It's so funny. All right. Let's see. Let's see what we can do. Hi. That worked. Sometimes it just needs a reminder. Okay. So this guy was there as much as I wanted to hear all of his stories. He was mostly just there to lay the foundation for the videotapes from the MGM Grand and in and around the fight, because you see the fight on there. It's in a bunch of documentaries. The video is still better than Canton PD. It just is. So we get a lot of that video. I'm not going to subject you to that because it's a lot of seeing people go in and out and small kerfuffles. But also so much of that video, it's from a camera that was posted to just sort of pan, and it does. And it's if you get motion sick at all, which I don't, but if you do, it's a lot. Just pretend it's VHS. Yes. Yes. Yes, when I'm going fuzzy, just pretend it's VHS. That's it. That's it. We just went back in time. My digital camera just wanted to go back in time. That's all. I didn't feel old when this week started because I'm not that old. But oh my goodness, in this trial, the number of times that it has had to stop so that the younger jurors can have things explained to them, and I'm like, really? But really. So okay. So we have Michael Ingram. He's there for the video. We see the video. If you some of us getting up in my age and a little bit older may have a hard time reading certain small print, but we can decipher that kind of video probably better than the kids these days because we are so used to seeing that grainy ass shit. So, it just comes back. It's like riding a bike. It comes back. From there, we went on to witness number 7, Kenneth Rios, a uniformed patrol officer for Las Vegas Metro on the night of the fights. And there's more video from the MGM. And then from there, we move on to witness number 8, William Heidemiter, witness to the shooting at Flamingo and Koval. So he was working security at one of the buildings right near where so he heard the pops when that happened. And then we moved on to witness number 9, Dino Kelly, the cold case investigator for the Metro Las Vegas Police Department, and the person who's been trying to put this all together for years. Yes, mom coming in, physical age and tech age are in fact different. Yes. 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 And I mean, I was born in 82, so I am used to both these grainy security videos and also will have a full-blown toddler meltdown when a web page won't load. So, it's all kind of it's interesting. All right. So, why can we not fit all 5 days in one? Because of this witness. Because this next witness that we are going to, witness number 10, James MacDonald, aka Mob James. I tried to pull timestamps for this man. I can't do it. He has a podcast, by the way, The Gangster Chronicles. I did not link it down below because I forgot to do that, and then I fought with tech. But this dude, I don't think I can cut him down. I don't think I can cut him down. I really don't. Because he's just first of all, he's entertaining and in a way that I appreciate, but it's not he's like mob grandpa explaining things to those of us who didn't live it. That's what and I mean that like with all affection in my heart. I really do. He's an interesting character. So let me go ahead and
we get violent.
This is wait, no, we gotta back up. We gotta back up to the beginning. Come on. Why did we not? I thought we were here. Aurora fights with technology. That's what we're doing. All right. There. That's better. Damn.
The parties stipulate to the presence of the jury.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
You may be seated. Great, welcome back from lunch, ladies and gentlemen. We're still in the state's case in chief. State, who's your next witness?
James MacDonald.
McDonald or McConnell? McDonald.
Now, he is at 1.25. I have them at 1.25 speed, or we will never get through this day. So just keep that in mind when we are watching voice and mannerisms and stuff like that. I have sped him up. I thought I had it queued up, right? There we go.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
You may be seated. May I please have you state and spell your first and last name for the record?
James MacDonald. JAMES McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. Mr. Quall, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. MacDonald, it's fair to say that you're here because of a court order. Is that right?
Correct.
That you didn't volunteer to come or anything like that?
Not at all.
Okay. But you were instructed by a court that you had to attend.
Yes.
I want to ask you.
Translation. We made you come. Like we offered to even give you a ride if we had to.
About September 7th, 1996. Were you at Club 662?
Yes.
What was Club 662?
It was a club that Suge bought and we operated it. When he opened, I was
We're not
head
at
of security
2.25. We will be.
through the neighborhood.
There we go.
Just
Now
supposed
we're
to
at
go and hang out.
2.25.
Did the number 662 mean anything?
Well, to the new guys, that was part of our neighborhood 662
Okay.
MOB.
Okay, MOB. And when you say MOB, there used to be before Apple iPhones and those types of things. When you had to have landlines and you pressed numbers, 662, there would be letters under those numbers, and M and O would be under 6. Is that right?
Right.
And B would be under 2.
Yes.
So 662 would be MOB.
Yes.
Was
Yes, children. Some of the text things that you hear and some of the numbers that us old folks shout at each other once in a while, like the 411. 411 is a bad example. That's a pager thing. But when you Apple still gives it to you because some places still do this, right? So if I pull up my Aurora, hit the right button, keypad. So it still has the little letters on there, right? Because they used to mean a lot more than they mean now.
so when you talk about Suge, are you talking about Suge Knight?
Yes, sir.
How'd you know Suge?
He lived in my neighborhood.
And is that in Compton?
Yes.
When you were at Club 662, you said you were head of security.
Yes.
Was somebody by the name of Reggie Wright Jr. there with you?
Not at that time.
No?
No.
When was he with you?
I got out of prison in 1988. She came and got me in 1988, like 4 days from coming home. Started another company, Burn Hill Records. Then Death Row Records came. Soon as Death Row was launched, Reggie came a few months after that.
Okay, so we're talking about the start of Death Row Records. Reggie wasn't part of Death Row Records initially, but you were.
Yes.
And then Suge Knight, was he the boss of Death Row Records?
Yes.
Yeah.
Was Suge from the same neighborhood?
From the mob?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say Suge was, he was guilty by association.
Okay.
He wasn't from the neighborhood. He lived in the neighborhood. We looked at him as somebody from the neighborhood. When he started Death Row and started to recruit us, then yes, he's from the hood.
So I guess there's a difference between living on a certain street versus being from the hood.
Yeah.
Yes. And this is where One, I appreciate Mob James's explanation. I will let him go again in a minute. But the other thing is having lived in a family neighborhood, yeah, if you're there, you're just there. You are safe, you are protected as long as you follow the rules. But you are not part of it. You're not family in the family neighborhood, but you're protected as though you're part of the family as long as you don't fuck that up.
And how would you describe that
Same.
difference?
I look at it, you have three different type of friends in the neighborhood. You got gang members, you got gang bangers, and you got men that just guilty by association from living in that area.
And can you tell me what the difference between a gang member and a gang banger is?
A gang member hangs out. A gang banger handles his business, put in work, do what the gang do.
And what was your role with Death Row?
I was the guy that if something happened, she would have you take care of that.
Fixer. He was the fixer.
Like Snoop Dogg trial, there was issues up there. I was sent up there to make sure those problems didn't happen again.
And are those problems, and I'm not asking you to get into specifics, but are those problems meaning issues with other people who might be gangbanging or might be trying to threaten folks?
Correct, yes.
And you were somebody that Suge relied on to be able to protect his roster of music artists and other things like that.
Correct.
And after you were asked to help out with Snoop, did Snoop have any other problems?
No, we didn't have one issue at court.
Now, I'm going to ask you, fast forward a little bit, to were you familiar with the South Side Compton Crips?
Yes.
Yes.
Would you say they were somebody you were in alliance with or a rivalry with?
Right.
Okay. And would sometimes those that rivalry get violent?
Anytime you're dealing with the gang life, there's going to be violence at any given time.
Are you familiar with somebody that went by the name of Tupac Shakur?
Yes.
How are you familiar with Tupac?
He was assigned to Death Row.
And when he was signed with Death Row, would he also hang out with you guys?
He hung with my brother now. Yeah. Not me.
Who was your brother?
Alton MacDonald, Buncher Ave.
Did he went by Buntry?
Yeah.
Now, during this time, is it fair to say that Mr. Shakur had an issue with rappers from the East Coast?
I think Tupac inherited the beef between Suge Knight and Puffy.
Okay, that was your perspective of it.
That's all it was. And we all fell. Some of us fell victim to it because we allowed ourselves to be a part of the BS, should I say? And that was a situation between record companies, not gangs. So technically, it wasn't our business. But when you had 20 men just fresh out of prison and didn't have a way of getting the things they wanted, getting a paycheck from Suge, we did almost anything and everything to get that paycheck.
Now, was there another gang that was associated with Bad Boy Records, the East Coast record company that Puffy had?
The only one I know of is South Side.
And did that escalate the tension between Mob Piru and South Side?
At the time, there was no at war, it was peace. And when the two record companies got into it, Bad Boy went to Keefe D now, and Suge came to us. So that intertwined everything, and we had issues.
Do you recall any instances that you were at where there were those issues manifested itself in terms of violence?
Are you serious? Don't ask me that right here. I can't say that on both sides. When each neighborhood met each other, there was a lot of tension. I'd say that.
Okay.
I have to hand it to this witness. I adore this witness. He seems very, very honest and also has set firm boundaries.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about September 7th, 1996.
Mm-hmm.
Were you in Las Vegas on September 7th of 1996?
Yes.
Why were you in Las Vegas?
To run the security at 662, we were having issues with individuals that said that they were coming for whatever reason they was coming for and to come to 662. My job was to not let that happen.
Similar to the kind of security you were asked to apply in the whole Snoop Dogg situation?
It didn't have nothing to do with Snoop Dogg. It was everybody came. Well, Suge and Bunch and them, his entourage, everybody went for the fight. My job and all of my people were there to make sure nothing funny happened at 662. So we were the fall guys. So if something happened, we was the one that's going to go to jail for it, prepared to do that. So nobody else was going to come up there and disrupt it in that manner. But if anybody remember that night, it was so many Metro and everybody there. No, neither side could have did anything. So it was calm, it was peaceful.
So when you say there's so much Metro there, you're talking about so much Metro at Club 662?
It was police all over the place.
Now you said you were there to be on the lookout for something. What were you?
You said I was on the lookout for nothing.
I apologize. You were there. You were there in order to ensure there weren't any problems. Is that fair?
He was there that if shit had to get done, he was gonna do it, and his guys were gonna do it. No, and they were gonna go to jail if that was required.
Make sure everything was good.
And because you had heard there might be some issues.
Right.
Right. What were the issues that you were concerned about?
Individuals coming up there creating an issue we was having with different sides of from with Crips, period.
Yeah. So you were worried about Crips. Not worried. I'm sorry. You were there providing security to ensure that Crips did not initiate any violence at Club 662.
I just that nothing would happen.
Okay.
Period.
Okay. And then when
Keep it party, keep it safe. No, none of that business coming into the club.
you were there, was Reggie Wright Jr. with you that night at September 7th, 1996 at Club 662?
Yes.
What was Reggie doing there?
Reggie's job was to watch me and make sure I don't get in trouble. Everybody knew how I was. So Reggie, everybody else went to the fights. Reggie was there to watch me with the people that was there.
And I'm guessing that
This is why I can't cut this man's testimony. Why was Reggie there? He was there to make sure I didn't get out of line.
you were not the only person there making sure there wasn't any problems at Club 662.
I'm positive it was 30, 45 rooms there.
And again, that was to make sure that there wasn't any violence that occurred at Club 662.
Right.
When at some point that night, do you learn that Tupac or Suge had been shot?
That night, yes.
Can you tell me how you learned about that?
Well, people was coming back and was explaining that Tupac and Suge just got shot. Everybody was in a uproar. A lot of people started even trying to get over there on Cobalt. We couldn't leave because we didn't pay to do this here. It wasn't too long after people started coming back, like Heron came back and went to the hospital. The majority of the people was leaving and then coming back because that night they said Tupac was going to be all right. And even Suge
Yeah, because he didn't die that night.
came back with a little bandage on his head. And we thought everything was good. People kept partying.
So, and when Suge came back, you said he had a bandage on his head. But
The dude said he got shot, but he was grazed, a little scar, but nothing penetrated.
some people would describe being shot in the head even
Well, you
slightly.
described it as that. I mean,
Yeah.
you're wrong.
All right. So when you find out, well, let me ask you this:
I do love listening to the prosecutor try to readjust as it's like, well, you might call it that, but that's not what it was. It was a great. The bullet did not enter your skull, therefore you were not shot in the head. And this prosecutor is truly trying to he's buffering slightly.
was Reggie with you when you found out that Tupac and Suge were shot?
Yes.
And did it appear to you in any way that Reggie Wright Jr. was coordinating the murder of Tupac Shakur?
No.
Impossible.
Right. All right. I can skip ahead ever so slightly here. So let's see. Are we cutting a lot of his testimony out? No. No. But I do see that I can jump ahead ever so slightly.
We do all the time.
But you're telling me that as head of security, you do not know Or you don't believe that Reggie Wright hired the Metro officers to come
I know
in?
for a fact he didn't hire the Metro Police.
Okay. Do you know how many people were on the payroll that night from your security team?
Well, y'all do paperwork different than we did. My paperwork was getting cash money. My paperwork was what they call under the table. We had at least 30, 40 of my homeboys there. Reggie Wright Jr. and his security, his company, the people work for him, didn't have nothing to do with what Shield paid us for working. So that was two different entities, Reggie and Shield. The homies was there for the Shield night. Reggie Wright hired his company to watch over Shield night people.
Right.
So his security did like the right thing. My security did what they ain't gonna do.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
I get it.
I love this man. Like, so he gets hired to do whatever needs to be done. Reggie Wright Jr.'s company gets hired to take down anybody who needs taken down, no matter what side they're on. It's kind
The police gonna walk you out of there.
Mhm.
We gonna drag you out of there. So it was a difference, but not on the same paper.
Sure. And once again, the intent was to protect 662, right? To protect the
We are under cross, by the way. I jumped ahead to cross-examination, but I just
protect the patrons that were going to go there, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in terms of your knowledge of what happened on that night, fair to say you weren't present when the shots had rung out.
No.
also love this attorney's style.
Wasn't there?
Okay. And your testimony is that you had heard from other people initially that, hey, Tupac had been shot.
Yes.
And you had thought maybe other people were maybe relieved, thinking like, okay, it's not that big of a deal. He's going to be okay.
That's what came back to 662.
Mm-hmm.
People that went to the scene, and everybody said Tupac was talking. So everybody came back to the club saying he's gonna be all right. So people just went back to, me.
Right. Now, in terms of the that night, you go back to Compton. You live in Compton.
Yes.
You still live in Compton?
No.
At the time you live in Compton, you go back to Compton, and you tell us that there was a lot of tension. Can you describe that for us when you went back in terms of what kind of tension we're talking about?
You sure you want me to answer that?
Is it going to be graphic?
No, I ain't gonna. I got to raise the word in it, but you asking me a question. I don't. And what I explained to them, I don't want to send him to prison.
Sure.
Even though we don't like each other.
Sure.
I don't want to send you to prison. So
He's talking directly to Keefe D at this point. I don't want to send you to prison, dude.
that's why I'm here where I'm at and where I am, because I changed my life. I'm raising my grandkids, teaching them never to be like their papa. And here I am explaining to people what I used to be. And I'm not proud of that. I'm not proud of that at all. And
Fair.
you're asking me questions that can hurt him. And I told them, I'm trying to avoid to answer the questions that they might look at me and say, something is wrong.
Well, let me put it this way. Let me help you out with this.
Thank you.
So these people right here, what they want to know from you is, did you see who shot Tupac?
I told you no.
Correct. So outside of that question, right? The next question I'm asking you is, when you went back to Compton, was it like a South Side Crip shoots a Piru blood, and then a Piru blood shoots a South Side Crip? Is that the
Man's face. I was just listening to this the first time around. James, I appreciate this. I appreciate this. You probably don't appreciate me using the nickname, but I don't feel like James MacDonald. It's a strong name. I just feel like a nickname.
Do I answer this?
That's a straightforward question.
That's to the judge, by the way. You don't get to do that as a witness. Apparently, in this trial, it doesn't matter.
It's a yes or no answer.
Did
you see that?
When I was a part of that life, I was a part of that. And I was, no, because you asking something that's gonna hurt this dude. And okay, let me stop.
And once again, I want to emphasize.
When we got back to Compton,
Okay.
it was a gang war.
Right.
People were getting hurt.
Okay.
Right.
People was being sought. People were looking for certain individuals from his neighborhood,
Okay.
as well they did mine.
Okay.
But Orlando him and certain other people were being assaulted because people wanted to kill them.
Sure.
Right.
Were they the only ones that they wanted to kill?
Am I the only one up in here? No, they weren't the only one. It's his neighborhood in particular.
That's right.
But they were the main subjects of a gang war. It was in the middle, such as me.
Mm-hmm.
So you're telling us that people back home somehow had some type of information that said that that guy, as a bunch of other people, were involved in what?
Mm-hmm.
In the murder of Tupac.
Right.
But my question to you,
Stop.
can you focus on me for a second, sir?
Yeah, I will.
And I apologize. I just want to make sure that we're clear, okay, for these people.
He is looking at Keefe D going, dude, your lawyer's asking me stupid questions.
In terms of that information, none of those people were there, right?
And what people you be speaking on? The people that was already in the neighborhood, or the people that left Las Vegas that same night Tupac was shot to go home, bear their arms, and go to somebody else's neighborhood to look for somebody. They had to pay it back.
So once again, my question to you is that the information that I'm asking about is the people that back home, you're saying were eyewitnesses to this?
How could people back home be eyewitness to something that happened in Vegas? No, that's not what I'm saying.
The people that were here in Las, listen to my question, sir. The people that were here in Las Vegas, you're telling me were eyewitnesses to what happened and went back home. Is that what you're telling me?
I'm telling you, the people that was at
Just
662.
answer my question, sir. Yes or no?
I can't
Is it
answer
a
that
yes or no?
without what you call it. You trying to tell me to say something that you're not going to understand. If you let me explain to you.
No, answer my question.
I'm not answering nothing. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, Mr. MacDonald, focus for a second.
No, I am focused. Very.
Focus on this. My question to you is this. You didn't know what happened that night because you weren't there.
I was at 662.
Right. You know who that was there.
I know everybody that was there.
Okay.
Right.
Like who?
Talk to your lawyer, man.
you.
Just do the stripping. I'm not going to explain that.
I'm
Everybody that was there.
rewinding that. I'm rewinding that because I lost my mind when this happened in court. I lost my mind when this happened in court because he looks right at Keefe D. It's like, dude, your lawyer has gone rogue. Come get him. Come get him. He's gone off. So we're gonna watch that again.
Okay. Like who?
Talk to your lawyer, man. Just do the stripping. I'm not going to explain that. I can't answer that.
Okay. Let me ask you this.
Also, the prosecutor's just sitting in the background, like, keep going.
Next question then. You are telling us that people back in Compton, for some reason, knew what happened here in Las
Vegas. A phone conversation.
Yeah.
People found out when people left Las Vegas the same night Tupac was shot, went straight back to Compton. It only takes 3.5 hours to get home. Sure.
I'm pretty. Okay. California people, Vegas people. I have heard from multiple sources who know those roads better that if you're driving that in 2 hours, you're going over 100 miles an hour.
Yes, it wasn't a problem for people to find out what happened. No problem at all.
They got on their phones, they texted people, they let them know what happened here on the night of the shooting?
Yeah. They had walkie-talkies, they had all kinds of phones. They had ways to call people to say whatever. But when people left Las Vegas that same night, after they found out and got in their cars and went home because it was a situation, Pac was shot. Retaliation is a mug. Come on, man. You got like it was for real, for real. All of this was for real.
Now, the night of the shooting, did you have a walkie-talkie, a Nextel thing or something like that?
No.
I always wanted one of those Nextels. Those were great.
Right?
I never got one. I had a Nokia brick.
I don't know what he had. I don't know how much money he had in his pocket. I don't know what he had on his hip.
But you were the head of security, but you're telling us you did not have any.
Right way security has nothing to do with the gangbanging security, Piru, whatever you want to call it. They had nothing to do with us.
Okay.
The phones that Suge had for certain individuals, they had the phones. Like the guy that was bodyguard for Tupac that night. Like some of the guys that was at the Tyson fight, like Suge Knight. Certain individuals had phones. Yes, they did.
Okay, so.
Which for 1996 is a big freaking deal because the phones, I think the brick was out by then. So you could have had like a Nokia that was about that big. But they were expensive too.
All right, I get what you're saying. You're not there, but you're saying other people were.
Yes, I'm saying there was a lot of people there.
Yeah.
A lot of people were there at the shooting that took place.
That was in the entourage, yes.
Let's see. Okay, just one final question. You're here today, and I think the state had asked this question under a subpoena. You're ordered to be here today, right?
Yes.
In terms of that subpoena, for instance, is that's the only reason why you're here is because of that subpoena?
I don't have no other reason to be here.
Yeah. In order for you to get that subpoena, you were served that subpoena back in California
Yes.
by a police officer?
I don't know. He was in uniform.
Okay. And that order required you to go to a court in California?
I had to go to court and evict the bill.
And then that court in California said you have to show up here.
And in that court, I cussed them out and told them, you can't make me do nothing.
Right.
And in that court, they told me that I would be in attempted court. Me raising my grandkids, I'm not going to put my grandkids in the car and move somewhere so y'all can't find me. So all that running and living a different life, I ain't doing it. So I agreed to come. And I explained to everybody in here, you ask me something, I'm going to be honest about. You ask me something I don't want to talk about, you're going to have a problem. Treat me as a hostile witness. You're not going to talk to me and tell me as a grown man what I have to do up here. I'm not going to send him to prison. You are.
We're gonna watch that again. Wait, in case you missed it, I'm rewinding because that's a hell of a statement to make in front of a jury.
I'm not going to send him to prison.
You are.
So the accusation now is because of
Keep your thoughts.
the fact that we're trying to ask you questions, you're blaming it on me.
You asking me questions. If I just answer your questions, we gonna have a problem in here, a misunderstanding. And you're asking me something that wouldn't be good for him.
Right. And once again, I just want to, look, we're just trying to figure out who shot Tupac. You're telling us that you were there. That's all I want to know. At the end of the day, that's it. Right?
Was I in the entourage when Tupac got shot? No.
Okay. Nothing else, right?
I was at 62. I mean, that ain't hard. That's easy math.
No further questions.
Anything further, Sage?
Jesus.
No.
All right, got one more phase and then we'll let you out of here.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, any questions for this witness? Seeing no hands. Oh, we do have one. Okay, hang on one second.
The juror has a question. The lawyers have to talk about it so they can determine if the question is legally admissible. Keefe has some thoughts. We're going to zoom zoom.
Answer it. Did Reggie Wright Jr. instruct security to not have firearms the night of the fight?
To be honest, I don't know if Reggie Wright told his people, all the police officers, not to have guns, and I don't know why. He sure didn't tell us because we had ours. And that's the honest truth.
All right. Any follow-up based on that, State?
No, no.
Defense.
I just want to clarify what the witnesses said. You're telling us that you had guns that night.
Yeah.
I just want to know. But you had guns that night. Right?
Yes, we did.
All right. Thank you.
All right, State. I know you don't want to be here, but thank you for coming out.
Okay, can I say something? I want to apologize to everybody, but
This is also something that, according to EDB, and I've never seen this before, he is addressing the court. There is no question pending. He is not supposed to talk. And the judge allows it.
All right, State. I know you didn't want to be here, but thank you for coming out.
okay, can I say something? I want to apologize to everybody, but I find this kind of funny and truthfully, what you're going through, brother, is what you're going through. I didn't want to be a part of that, and I'm not a part of that. So I appreciate everything, and I apologize to all of you guys.
Okay, thank you, Mr. MacDonald. You are free to go. State's next witness.
So, as of right now, that may be my favorite witness of all time. Of all time. I'm sure there will be others, but he is definitely one of my favorite witnesses. Because he's very honest, gives us a lot of information, but also is very funny and doesn't say what he doesn't want to say. And I really think I feel like Come Get Your Lawyer Man, he's tripping, needs to be a clip. I think that needs to happen. All right, next witness is Reggie Wright Jr. I have a few timestamps for him. We're going to watch a few things of his. My camera is doing the thing again. Hang on. I mean, it still remembers me, but it's doing the flashy thing. It's doing the flashy thing. Okay. Yes. Yes, no movie needed just from the real thing. Right? Right? It's that truly one of my favorite witnesses. I listen to a lot of court. It's why I stick with Mob James, because I just don't feel like James MacDonald works the same. I don't feel that name encaptures what's the words I'm looking for? You know what I'm saying? All right, chat, am I getting flashy here? Because it seems as though the system is doing the flashy thing, which means I will need to reboot, but let me pull up. I should be able to do that. Let's see. Let's see if I can do that here. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to do that. And I wanted to pull up a timestamp. All right, this is Reggie Wright Jr. So let us get into some of his timestamps here.
Right? It's WRIGHT.
Nope. I mean, fine.
Thank you, sir.
I'm going to skip ahead to get to the beginning here. Wait. We have his name. We have where that is. Let me actually jump ahead to. Hang on, we're getting there.
Were they largely off-duty police officers?
There we are.
Off-duty or reserves or retired.
And why is that?
Because they were able to carry guns concealed, where it's not exposed. We had exposed officers at the studio, but mainly the bodyguards carried their weapons concealed.
All right, I am flashy, so I'm going to let Reggie chat for a moment or two, and hopefully what I need to do works. Hopefully it works.
And we heard,
And for the training as well.
we heard from James MacDonald just before you hit the stand. Was it fair to say that there were Mob Piru gang members also around Death Row Records?
That's correct. Mob, looters, West Side, generally.
Chat, did we lose the video too? Did that not work the way I needed it to? I'm sorry. I'm sorry if that did not work the way I needed it to. I thought it would help, but it seems not to have helped. I will back it up. Sorry about that.
One of their main artists prior to Mr. Shakur coming to the label.
Are these gangs that are generally associated with the Bloods? Is that right?
That's correct, sir.
And the Crips are, well, let me ask you, Crips and Bloods, are they an alliance or are they typically in conflict?
Typically in conflict. However, Death Row was a unique situation because one of their main artists prior to Mr. Shakur coming to the label was Snoop Dogg, who was a known Crip from Long Beach. And they all seemed to have a great working relationship prior to my arrival and even during my arrival.
All right. I want to ask you about.
I think Snoop is currently. I think Snoop currently runs Death Row. Do I have that right? I think I have that right.
Bad Boy Records. Are you familiar with a company called Bad Boy Records?
Yes, I am.
And who, to your knowledge, was running Bad Boy Records in the mid-90s?
P. Diddy, Sean Combs, Puffy. I don't know what name he's going by today.
You speak for all of us, sir. You speak for all of us. Yeah, P. Diddy, Puffy. He is referred to as Puff, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy. Dude, pick a fucking name. This is what happens when you pick your own nickname, by the way. The number of name changes. Why I'm happy to go back to Puff.
Right. So we'll go with Mr. Combs for now.
Okay.
So Mr. Combs was running a Bad Boy record, and then who would you say his most prominent artist at that time was?
Christopher Wallace, Biggie Small.
Okay, and then was there tension between Death Row Records and Bad Boy, the Bad Boy Entertainment label?
At what time period?
Well, you tell me. At any point, did tension develop between Bad Boy Records and Death Row Records?
Initially, when I was around in '94, there wasn't. However, some things happened. '95 that started tension between Death Row and Bad Boys.
There's a famous speech that Mr. Knight gives at the Source Awards in New York in 1995. Does that contribute to it?
Yes, sir. That was August 6, 1995. But yes, sir. That was when he let the world know.
And then there's another
I am not familiar with that speech. I will go look it up.
incident where one of Shield's associates was killed in Atlanta. Is that right?
That was in September 25th, I believe. Yes, sir.
And then is it fair to say that your perception of security for Death Row Records was that somebody associated with Bad Boy Entertainment may have had something to do with the murder of one of Suge's friends in Atlanta?
That was always the story that was told to us. Yes, sir.
And so is it fair to say by 1995, the end of 1995, that there was significant tension between Bad Boy and Death Row?
Yes, sir.
And to the extent that it even involved violence with regards to Suge Knight's friend being killed.
Correct.
Yes. All right, we're going to jump ahead ever so slightly. There we go.
This particular song came out in about May or June. We upped it to 2 security officers.
Now, you mentioned a particular song came out that changed how you handled Tupac Shakur's
Add it to
security.
the playlist.
What song are you talking about?
It was a song called Hit 'Em Up.
And is it fair to say that in that song, Tupac is aggressively expressing his dislike for the members of Bad Boy Entertainment as well as other artists?
That's fair to say.
He's calling them all out by name. He's dropping all the names. Go watch the music video. All the names.
And as a result of that, you decided to change security for Tupac or increase it.
Well, I was a part of the discussion and ultimately had to approve it, but I'm sure Mr. Knight, and possibly Mr. Shakur, and maybe the security officer that was primarily with them, we all agreed that he probably needed another guy with him.
Were you aware during this time of a gang from Compton being used by Bad Boy Entertainment when they came to the West Coast?
We had heard those rumors and we were familiar.
And what gang was that?
Compton South Side Crips.
Now, the South Side Crips, that was the same gang that you told us earlier that Mr. Davis belonged to. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And by Mr. Davis, I mean Keefe D.
That's what I believe he is, yes.
Yeah. And then was there ever a time where Death Row and you and...
All right, I'm going to skip ahead. No, I'm going to let him finish the question.
whatever other unofficial security Death Row had a clash with Bad Boy and the South Side Compton Crips at all?
Yes, we had it at a Soul Train Music Awards. I previously stated that Mr. Davis was with him, and I even think I may have even said that he was one of the ones close to the guy with the gun. Never seen cars or something like that at the time. We had cars.
I'm just checking my timestamps here. Hang on.
Got the advice from the attorney. The attorney was generally telling you got to be on your P's and Q's, so to speak.
Yes.
Jumping ahead.
What's when you're talking about being on your P's and Q's so that the club can be transferred to Suge Knight, was Club 662 at that time in Mr. Knight's name?
No, it was perceived that it was. People believed it, even because of the name change. Excuse me. But it hasn't officially been, the paperwork hasn't officially, it never was completed. It was never done.
Now, you talk about the name change. Explain to us a little bit about the name change.
Well, we had a sign and all of that called Club 662.
Explain to us what 662 means.
662 on the keyboard of your phone, it would spell out the word MOB, which means members of the Bloods.
Well, nobody has keyboards on their phones anymore.
I forgot about that.
And so the club itself, the name of the club itself rang out that it was a blood affiliated club.
That's correct.
Now, what advice did Mr. Kalisis give you regarding being on your P's and Q's for that night in order for Suge Knight to be able to obtain approval for running that club?
So he advised, and the main thing that came out of that meeting was he advised all of my security guards, even though that they were authorized to carry guns, being off-duty police officers and stuff, that we shouldn't have guns on our possession inside of the club on that night.
So your understanding was, or at least the advice that you got was,
I just realized, being able to see it, that he was very clear inside the club, which meant that any security outside the club probably had firearms.
inside Club 662, you're working it for right way security.
Correct.
You're not carrying a gun.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Did you communicate that to the people working for you?
So we had a meeting in Mr. Khalif's office. He said it. Mr. Khalif said it.
So he said don't do it, so we said not to do it. All right, we're going to jump ahead. He's very informative. Highly recommend you go check out his testimony. But he doesn't have the comic timing of Mr. MacDonald. So we're going to bounce ahead here to... Sorry, I'm looking at my timestamp. All right, bouncing ahead. Almost. Close enough.
He was one, yes, sir.
And is it typically wore on a chain around one's neck?
That's correct, sir.
It's talking about the so some of where this started was somebody pulling the chain off of Baby Lane's neck. I think that's about what that was with the jump, or no, baby. I need to go back through. Basically, everybody had the big chains, death row chains, and so where this seemingly started was somebody pulled the chain off of somebody's neck, and then we just escalate from there. But Reggie Wright Jr. has been wrapped up in some conspiracy theories, and some of what we're going to witness here is some of the dismantling of some of that, if I remember correctly. I think
Okay,
that's
Mr.
what it
Sam,
is.
cross-examination.
Thank you.
And we start cross. Never mind.
I know, sir.
Read my note,
Yeah.
Aurora.
Podcast, I believe, right?
Read
YouTube
read your
channel.
note.
That I talk on.
I'm sure you're probably anticipating the next question. In your YouTube channel, you have spoken a little bit about me, for instance, right?
That's correct.
And
And you have spoke about me as well.
Yeah. So in terms of your podcast or YouTube channel, and once again, I don't think it was anything derogatory. It's more like you never tried a criminal case, or I think Hollywood-ass attorney. I think you had said something like that, right?
Well, yeah, I did about 10 interviews in the last 2 months, so I may have said something like that.
Now, in terms of your
This entire exchange is delightful.
podcast stuff, it's this pretty good point. At some point, you would actually instruct the Keefe that, hey, he can actually make money doing the YouTube stuff. Remember that?
It didn't go quite like that, but I did pass his number to a few YouTube channels after he and I had this discussion about doing something on my channel that I refused to pay because I'm not giving someone I believe is Tupac Killer money.
Sure. You had an interview with a Mr. Monk. Do you remember that?
Detective Monk, yes, sir.
Was he a detective at the time?
He was.
Okay, so he's a detective at the time, and he sat down with you, and you had a conversation with him, and you basically told him that you had advised Keefe D about I don't know, how much you can get paid doing YouTube stuff. Remember that?
I don't remember that, no.
Now, you don't remember that, or you don't believe that?
I remember Kevin Goffin, but to say you can make $5,000 or $10,000, I didn't have any conversation like that with Detective Monk.
Okay, so you don't know or you don't remember. I just want to make sure we're different here.
I remember meeting with Detective Monk. I know I am the one that started passing Mr. Davis' number around to do more interviews to get him to talk. Yes.
Okay, so
So he wanted to get Keefe D on his show, but he didn't want to pay him. You can come on and talk. I'll hand you the shovel. I'll hand you the shovel. But I'm not paying you. Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm gonna pull a Peter Tragos here and say, guys, we're at an hour 40. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get through all the rest of this. Because we want. Can I get through day 3 and 4? No. We're an hour 40. Hit the like button, do all the YouTube things. Can I get through day 3? We're gonna try. We're gonna try to get through day 3. And then we'll do 4 and 5 tomorrow. I tried. I could do it in a Runkle link stream or an ADB link stream. I just can't do it in an hour, 2-hour stream. And my dog is probably wanting to not sleep on the floor all night. So, okay. This continues. It is delightful. But I'm going to zip us on out of here. So we're going to call that the end of day 2. So he's on the stand. Reggie Wright Jr. is on the stand for the rest of day 2. I'm going to swoop. We're going to go into day 3. If I can find the swoop. There's a... All right. Day 3. Okay. We start the day of, so day 3 and day 4 are both half days because this particular court works docket in the morning on a couple days of the week. So the court schedule is a little funny there. So outside the presence of the jury, there is a back and forth between prosecution and defense about Detective Dupree and the plan for his testimony. Basically, will he be recalled? All of that. And so he is subject to recall, which means he's not going to watch testimony and whatnot. And then, okay, so then this is where it gets kind of interesting because we have some witnesses that are both foundational, wherein they can corroborate and confirm the document, but then they also that's really why they're there. Sometimes they can explain, sometimes not. So let us look at, sorry, I'm thinking it is 9 o'clock. I'm just looking at this. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do Wade Lee. We're gonna look at some of Wade Lee's testimony, and then we will start tomorrow with Detective Dupree, which will actually be better going into the other stuff. And I'm going to get some more timestamps for tomorrow. So, all right, and tomorrow it will maybe chat. I think I'm going to have stream earlier tomorrow. I'll cover this at the end. Anyway, all right, let me, oh, do I have it? Do I have it ready to go? I do have it ready to go. Witness number 12, Wade Lee. Share screen. There we go. Share. This is witness number 12, Mr. Wade Lee.
May I please have you state and spell your first and last name for the record?
My name is Wade Lee, W-A-G-E-L-E-E.
Thank you, Mr. Lee, for being here. Mr. DeJoffel, whenever you're ready, you may proceed.
Thank you. Let me just get the first thing next to me in order. I know we're kind of messed up. Excellent.
Okay.
Sir, back in the 90s, how were you employed?
I was a special agent with the FBI.
How long were you with the FBI?
25 years.
And when did you start?
May of 1996.
So he started right before all this shit went down. That's a hell of a time to start. Okay. Let me jump ahead. If I can get to the right spot. All right, we're going to jump ahead a bit. It's a hell of a time to start. It started in May 1996, and then everything exploded.
As part of that investigation, does there come a point in time when you do what's known as a proffer with Mr. Davis?
Yes, we did.
And describe for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what a proffer is.
So a proffer interview session would be, it's.
Hang on. He is saying proffer with an F. P-R-O-F as in Frank, E-R. We're going to speed him up, though, because, yeah. 1.25. Let's roll.
It's usually considered, it's a fairly common practice, particularly in the federal criminal justice system, where we have an individual who's been indicted and arrested, and it sort of is the beginning of a negotiation for a plea agreement, if you will. What we do is the U.S. Attorney's Office, the defendant's attorney, they all agree that conducting an interview with the FBI. The terms of that agreement are such that the defendant has to be open and candor, tell the truth regarding the questions that we ask him. In return, the FBI, Department of Justice, will not use what the defendant says in that proffer session against him in this case, in chief that we have him charged with. There's a couple little caveats. One being that if during trial the defendant goes on to make statements that contradict what he said in that proffer session, at that point it violates it, and we can use this statements against him. Those are generally the nature. And we agree to keep the nature of the interview confidential.
You got him every approach?
Yeah.
The confidentiality is part of what comes into play here because Kading, I believe, was involved with some of these and seems to be the source of the leak. But that is an excellent explanation of the proffer agreement. Basically, we've got you on this big ass charge. You want to keep talking? And we can't use your words against you on this case. What they fail to explain well on purpose is that they can use what you say to them down the line for something else, which is what they have done. Okay. And let's see. Now we're going to jump ahead because this lovely man also explains so much, so well of why we're here. He's an excellent, without explaining why we're here specifically, it's brilliant. So, let's see. Nope, I'm too soon. Hang on. Oh, there we are.
Subsequent to Mr. Davis going to prison, do you and your partner, Todd Holiday, go to a federal prison and have just a voluntary conversation with Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Went to
Is that situation different than the proffer situation?
Mm-hmm.
it is in that it's a strictly voluntary interview. His attorney, the U.S. Attorney's Office, were notified of us contacting him because he's in custody. But the terms of the proffer, it's not the same as the proffer agreement. It's just a normal, regular interview.
It means that anything that you say can and will be used against you at any point in time.
But once again, you do promise him confidentiality during that conversation.
Yes, we did.
And up until the U.S. Attorney authorized you, you maintain that confidentiality.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
We're showing you what's been marked as State's Proposed Exhibit number 149. Is that the 302 that describes that particular conversation?
Yes, it is.
Move to Exhibit 149.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
So it did.
And I'm going to put that one up on the screen. Can you tell me the date that occurred?
The interview. Let's see here.
All right, so let's look at some of this. So this is the FBI stuff. This is 99. Interviewed by agents at the Federal Correctional Institute. So he's in prison at this point. Was not advised of Miranda rights during, because he could call an end to it at any point in time, and he didn't. That's what that means. Okay, let us bounce ahead. Where are we at? Yeah, let's bounce ahead to my next timestamp. Looks like cross. Cross-examine.
The proffer agreement, yes.
Okay, and that proffer agreement, of course, does require the approval of the United States Attorney's Office that would be responsible for that area, right?
Yes.
And in this case, that person would have been Assistant United States Attorney Michael Terrell.
Correct.
Was he present for that meeting?
Yes, he was.
Okay, so it's you, your partner, another FBI agent, as well as Special Agent Michael Terrell.
Assistant United States Attorney Mike.
I'm sorry, Assistant United States Attorney Michael Terrell. And in that meeting, there's an understanding between Mr. Davis and his attorney that whatever was going to be said was not going to be used against them.
Unless he came out and testified and said something that was contradictory to what he said in the proffer agreement, yes.
Sure. Now, once again, we're talking about the federal government here, right? So was there an actual proffer that was signed by the parties indicating the understanding that you're telling us right now in terms of what was the terms of the agreement?
My recollection is that there is, but that's maintained by the United States Attorney's Office.
Okay, and since we're talking about that particular proffer here today, fair to say that would be relevant information that we should be considering?
Would you repeat
Objection
that?
to the form of the question calls for a legal conclusion.
Okay, sustained if you would rephrase.
So basically, he did just ask the when it's objection calls for legal conclusion, it basically means the witness can't answer because it's a very finite legal question and the witness can't answer.
Well, I want to make sure I'm clear here. We are talking about a proffer. You're telling us that there is an actual writing, a contract of some sort between yourself and Mr. Davis with regards to that proffer. Do you have a copy of it here today?
That's
No.
not between myself and Mr. Davis. It was between Mr. Davis and the United States Attorney's Office.
Right.
And once again, do you have a copy of that here today?
No, I didn't.
No.
Now, in terms of your understanding of this agreement, Mr. Davis gives an agreement, and in the agreement, I'm assuming the idea behind it is that he has to give you truthful information, right?
Correct.
And if there's no truthful information, then he's exposing himself to a potential crime in which he's now freely admitted to it, right?
I'm not sure I understand the question you're asking.
Here, I don't want to break it down for myself because maybe I don't understand. So a proffer agreement promises the person that you're interviewing that we're not going to prosecute you for what you're telling us.
Right.
If the person's lying and you catch them lying, then technically the proffer doesn't count anymore because they violated their terms of the agreement. Is that how that goes?
Right. Yes.
If they like during the agreement
During the
or
proffer.
during the proffer session.
Right.
So that doesn't
Kind of.
necessarily the benefit is for consideration for plea bargaining and sentencing consideration.
Mhm.
So if the individual who is being interviewed during the proffer session shows a lack of candor, lies, and things of that nature, then the consideration for a plea bargain, plea agreement will be considered by the United States Attorney's Office and what they will offer to that defendant.
Basically, the agreement is we've already got you on this major drug charge. You're already going away for X number of years. We can make it Y number of years instead if you tell us all the shit that we need to know. And if you tell us all the shit we need to know, we can then make it Y number of years. But if you lie and we find out that you lied, we can cancel that and let you sit in jail for longer. They very rarely, and they can also say that your words here cannot be used against you if we prosecute you for crime D. So, if we're prosecuting you for the crimes that you've talked about, we can't use your own words against you for what you're already in prison for. It's confusing. It is confusing, which is why he's struggling to explain it. So, let me skip ahead. Right in front of my face. All right, where's the next timestamp? Let us jump ahead. Nope, that's not it. Sorry, I'm trying to find the right timestamp. Sorry, hit that. All right. Wow, I almost had it. Okay, there we go.
That would be most likely, yes.
Okay. And in terms of the Compton Police Department, fair to say that at some point they actually disbanded or they were shut down?
Yes, that's accurate.
And that would have been at what year?
I don't remember specifically. It was somewhere in the late 90s, I believe, or early 2000s.
Okay. And why did they get disbanded?
I don't know these specifics. I know there was numerous allegations of corruption and such and things like that in the department, organizational, structural problem deficiencies.
Okay.
Sir, can whoever shut them down go to Canton? All right, so I wanted to cover the disbanding of the Compton PD because that is important. Okay. I'm gonna swoop. An hour 57. Yeah, I'm gonna call it. We're gonna finish tomorrow. First, I'm gonna swoop. All right, we will do days 4 and 5 tomorrow. So we got through days 1, 2, and 3. Aurora, do you try and recap on the weekends? A whole week of trial when they run court like they do in Florida, which is all work all the time? Yeah, that was a choice. At some point, we'll do a nice, like, 4-hour stream, but today is not the day. So with that, we're gonna cover 4 and 5 at some point tomorrow. Follow me on Threads, follow me on Insta. I'll get the link up as soon as I decide on a time. And then we are gonna start day 4 off with Dupree, and that may actually give me a chance tonight to listen back to all the audio from day 5 at a pretty intense speed. So anyway, that is where we are at the end of this week. It has been, if you do not remember a lot of these things, it's been, I'm sure, eye-opening, and I don't know. Chat, let me know. To me, okay, so before I let you go for the evening, so I a Maine girl, raised in Maine. My first college was in upstate Vermont. So in the middle of nowhere, Vermont too, right? Like this girl over here is not like a big city girl. New York is my place, and I am not an LA girl. I would not last a minute in LA. My tolerance for Los Angeles is 6 days, with the 6th day being somewhat of a chore. Like, I'm just not built for that. It's not my vibe, not my energy. It's fine. I love visiting. Not my vibe. But so we have all of this information, and I have lost my train of thought. I had a good thought. You know where it went? Right out the window. Gone. I hate it. Does that happen to you? It happens to me. I'm gonna take that as a sign. It was a good thought. I don't know where it went. Nope. I got halfway through that. Gone. Aurora, is this why people script shows? Yes. This is why you're never going to script a show because this is far more entertaining on replay. Also, yes. So, all right, I'm gonna call it. You know what? That's a squirrel swoop, though. Squirrel swoop. We got through 3 days. We're gonna cover the next 2 tomorrow. I don't know when. Chat, let me know when. If you follow me on all the things, let me know when works for you. That would be great. I'm probably gonna try and do it a little earlier, on the earlier side. Maybe not evening, maybe between lunch and dinner. Maybe we'll go for that like mid-afternoon range. Yeah, I think I'm gonna try for that. Anyway, you guys are amazing. Thanks for hanging with me. Do all of the liking and subscribing, do all the YouTube things, do all the things. Hit the like button, share with your friends, drag people into chat. We love having you. Everything is up on replay. We love replay crew. I try and timestamp as soon as I can. Sometimes it takes me longer than I want to, but I do always get the timestamps up. And Saturday is usually our day. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what this next week of trial is going to be like. This is so densely packed. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We will figure it out. Day 4 and 5 tomorrow. There are some fascinating characters coming to us, including the witness, or one of the witnesses is the guy who took the picture that is in all of the documentaries and everything of Tupac and Suge just minutes before all this went down. So, I will see you tomorrow. Keep a lookout for when that link goes up. You guys are amazing. Love you so much. Thanks for sticking with me. Aurora, can you move to... Thanks for sticking with me. It's been a night. You guys are awesome. As always, be well. Do good. And remember to bark a lot. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Bark a Lot. Follow me on Threads and Insta at the Aurora H. White. That's where I post most frequently between shows. Hit that like button, connect with us, and remember to bark a lot. We will see you next time.